Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and today we have a really exciting episode for you. If you've ever wondered, how can I practice speaking English if I have no one to talk to? Well, you're in the right place.
That's right, Jason. Hi, everyone. I'm Julia, and in today's episode, we're going to show you that practicing English alone is not only possible, it's actually one of the best ways to improve your speaking skills.
Exactly. Many English learners think they need a speaking partner to improve. But here's a secret. Many fluent speakers, even professionals, practice alone before speaking with others.
Yes. Think about actors, public speakers, or even news reporters. They don't just start speaking fluently in front of an audience. They practice on their own first.
That's such a great point, Julia. And in this episode, we'll share some of the best techniques for practicing English by yourself. We'll cover methods like thinking in English, shadowing, self-recording, and even using technology to help improve your speaking skills.
So, if you're ready to boost your confidence and sound more natural in English, even without a partner, stay with us because we have some powerful tips coming up.
All right, let's get started with some common myths about practicing English alone. All right, before we dive into the best ways to practice speaking English alone, let's first talk about some common myths. Julia, have you ever heard people say that practicing alone doesn't work?
Oh, all the time, Jason. Many English learners believe that if they don't have a conversation partner, they can't improve their speaking. But that's simply not true.
Exactly. So today, let's break down 3 common myths about practicing English alone and why they're totally wrong. The first myth is that speaking alone is useless. Many people think that if they don't have a real person to talk to, they won't improve. But Julia, is that really the case?
Not at all. In fact, speaking alone helps you get comfortable with the language. When you practice out loud, your brain starts getting used to forming sentences in English without hesitation.
That's a great point. Think about professional athletes. They don't just play matches. They also practice alone to refine their skills.
Yes, and the same applies to English learners. Speaking alone helps build confidence, improve pronunciation, and strengthen fluency.
Now, here's another common myth. I need a native English speaker to improve. Julia, what do you think about this one?
Oh, I hear this all the time, and it's simply not true. While talking to a native speaker can help, it's not the only way to improve your English. In fact, many successful English learners have reached fluency without ever having regular conversations with native speakers.
That's right. And today, with the internet, there are so many resources, videos, podcasts, and even AI chat tools that allow you to practice and listen to native-like pronunciation.
Absolutely. And remember, many native speakers themselves don't always use perfect grammar. The key is to focus on improving step by step, and you don't need a native speaker for that.
All right, let's talk about the third myth. Talking to yourself is weird. This one is funny because, honestly, I talk to myself all the time.
Me too, Jason. And it's actually a fantastic way to practice English.
Right? A lot of learners feel embarrassed about speaking English alone. But let's be real. If you don't practice, how can you improve?
Exactly. And it's not weird at all. In fact, many language learners do it, and even professional speakers rehearse their speeches alone before speaking in public.
That's such an important point. So, to everyone listening, don't be afraid to talk to yourself in English. It's one of the most effective ways to practice. All right, now that we've busted these myths, let's move on to the real strategies you can use to improve your speaking skills by yourself. And first up is one of my personal favorites, thinking in English. Now that we've busted those myths, let's talk about one of the most powerful techniques for improving your English when you're alone. Thinking in English.
Yes, this is such a game changer. Many learners don't realize that speaking fluently starts in the mind. If you always think in your native language and then translate to English, it slows you down.
Exactly. When you translate, there's always that extra step in your brain, and that makes speaking feel harder. But when you train yourself to think directly in English, you start speaking more naturally. So, Julia, how can someone start thinking in English? It sounds a little challenging at first.
Great question. You can start with something really simple. Just describe what's happening around you in English. For example, if you're making breakfast, say to yourself, I am making coffee. The water is boiling. I will add sugar.
That's a great tip. It forces your brain to use English without translating. You can also think in English while walking outside. Describe what you see. The weather is nice. That car is red. The birds are singing.
Exactly. And another great trick is planning your day in English. For example, you can think, at 10 a.m. I will study, then I'll go to the gym. After that, I'll meet my friend for coffee. It's like having a little conversation with yourself in English.
I love that. It helps make English part of your daily routine. The more you do it, the faster your brain adapts. But Julia, what if someone struggles to think in English? What can they do?
Good question. If it's hard at first, start with just keywords. Instead of full sentences, try thinking in simple words. Coffee, hot, morning, delicious. Over time, your brain will start filling in the gaps naturally.
That's a great point. Also, if you get stuck, try using pictures instead of words. For example, when you see an apple, don't think of the word in your native language first. Just imagine the English word apple directly.
Yes, it's all about training your brain. And one more tip. Try setting a goal to think in English for at least 5 minutes a day. Slowly increase it, and soon, it will become a habit.
That's amazing advice. So, everyone listening, try this today. Just start thinking in English, even if it's for a few minutes. It's a simple step, but it makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And up next, we're going to talk about another powerful technique, shadowing. This method will help you sound more like a native speaker. Stay tuned.
All right, now that we've talked about thinking in English, let's move on to another powerful technique, shadowing. Julia, have you ever heard of this method?
Oh, yes. Shadowing is one of the best ways to improve pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency in English. It's like training your mouth and brain at the same time.
Exactly. And for those who don't know, shadowing means listening to a native speaker and immediately repeating what they say, like a shadow following them.
That's right. You don't pause or stop to think. You just copy the speaker as closely as possible, even their intonation and emotions.
So, how can someone start using the shadowing technique? What's the first step?
Great question. Step 1 is choosing the right audio material. Pick something clear and natural, like a podcast, a YouTube video, or even a scene from a movie.
Yes, and it's best to start with something short, maybe a 10 to 20-second clip. Play it, listen carefully, and then try repeating right after the speaker.
That's key. You don't need to understand every word perfectly. The goal is to copy the pronunciation, speed, and tone as closely as possible.
Exactly. And here's a pro tip. Try practicing with subtitles first, then without them. This helps you focus on the sounds rather than just reading. Now, Julia, why do you think shadowing is so effective?
Because it forces you to use English naturally. When you shadow, you're not just memorizing words, you're training your brain to think and speak like a native speaker.
That's so true. It also improves pronunciation because you're mimicking real speech. You get used to linking words, reducing sounds, and using the right rhythm.
Yes, it's like learning a song. When you listen and sing along multiple times, it becomes automatic. The same happens with English.
But Julia, what are some mistakes learners make when trying shadowing for the first time?
One common mistake is choosing audio that's too fast. If you're a beginner, start with slower speech and increase speed gradually.
That's important. Another mistake is trying to be perfect from the start. It's okay if you don't get every word right at first. Just keep practicing.
Exactly. And one last mistake, mumbling or whispering. You need to speak out loud to improve your confidence and pronunciation.
Great advice. So, everyone listening, give shadowing a try. Just pick a short clip, repeat after the speaker, and don't worry about making mistakes. Over time, you'll sound more natural and fluent.
Yes, and coming up next, we'll talk about another technique that will take your speaking skills to the next level, self-recording and feedback. Stay with us.
Now that we've talked about shadowing, let's move on to another fantastic technique for practicing speaking alone, speaking out loud. Julia, do you think speaking out loud really makes a difference?
Oh, absolutely, Jason. A lot of learners make the mistake of just studying English in their heads, but if you don't actually say the words out loud, your mouth doesn't get used to forming English sounds.
Exactly. Speaking is like a muscle. You have to train it. And the best way to do that is by talking out loud as much as possible. Let's go through 3 simple ways to do this: describing things, telling stories, and role-playing. All right, first up, describing things around you. Julia, how does this work?
It's super simple. Just look around and describe whatever you see. For example, if you're in your room, say, "There is a wooden desk in front of me. My laptop is open and my phone is next to it."
That's a great example. And you can do this anywhere: on the bus, in a cafe, or even when you're cooking. Just describe what you're doing in English.
Yes, the more you do this, the more natural English becomes in your daily life.
Now, the second technique, telling stories. Julia, why is this so effective?
Because storytelling helps you practice speaking in full sentences. You can talk about something that happened in your day, a childhood memory, or even make up a fun story.
That's right. And the best part is, there's no pressure. Since you're speaking alone, you can take your time and improve at your own pace.
Exactly. And if you're not sure how to start, use simple structures like "yesterday I went to" or "one day I saw," and then just keep going.
And finally, let's talk about role-playing. Julia, have you ever pretended to have a conversation by yourself?
Oh, yes, many times. It might feel funny at first, but it really helps improve fluency and confidence.
Absolutely. You can pretend to order food at a restaurant, introduce yourself in an interview, or ask for directions. Just imagine you're in a real conversation and practice what you would say.
Yes, and if you want to make it even more fun, try changing your voice or pretending to be 2 different people in the conversation.
That's a great tip. It keeps practice interesting and engaging. So, to everyone listening, start speaking out loud today. Describe what you see, tell stories, and role-play conversations. These simple exercises will help you become more confident and fluent in English.
Yes, and up next we're going to talk about another powerful method, self-recording and feedback. Stay with us.
All right, now let's talk about something modern and exciting, using AI and language apps to practice speaking. Julia, have you ever tried these tools?
Yes, and they're so helpful. Nowadays, there are many AI-powered apps that let you practice speaking with instant feedback. You don't need a human partner, you can just talk to an AI assistant.
That's right. Apps like ChatGPT, Elsa Speak, or Speak English with I can simulate real conversations. They help with pronunciation, sentence structure, and even fluency.
And another great thing, some apps give you feedback on your pronunciation and suggest better ways to say something. It's like having a personal tutor anytime you need it.
So, what's the best way to use these apps for speaking practice?
Great question. First, set a goal. Maybe 10 minutes of speaking practice per day. Use the app to have a conversation or repeat sentences out loud.
That's a smart approach. And another tip, don't just type, actually speak into the app. The more you talk, the more confident you'll get.
Exactly. Also, try different conversation topics so you can practice a variety of vocabulary and expressions.
So, to everyone listening, if you want to practice speaking alone, AI tools and language apps are a fantastic way to improve. Just open an app, start talking, and make it part of your daily routine.
Yes, and up next, we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts and key takeaways from today's episode. Stay tuned.
Now, let's talk about one of the best ways to improve your English speaking skills when practicing alone. Recording yourself. Julia, do you think this is a useful technique?
Oh, absolutely, Jason. Many learners don't realize how they sound when they speak English, but when you record yourself and listen back, you can hear your pronunciation, fluency, and even small mistakes.
That's so true. It might feel strange at first, but it's a powerful way to improve. When you listen to yourself, you can notice areas that need improvement and work on them. So, Julia, how should someone start with this method?
It's simple. First, pick a topic. Maybe describe your day, talk about your favorite movie, or even read aloud from a book.
Yes. Then, use your phone or a recording app to record yourself speaking. Try to speak naturally, as if you're having a real conversation.
Exactly. After that, listen to your recording and ask yourself, did I speak clearly? Did I hesitate too much? Did I pronounce words correctly?
And a great tip, compare your recording to a native speaker. Listen to how they say words and try to match their pronunciation next time. So, if you want to improve quickly, start recording yourself today. It's an easy way to track your progress and build confidence in speaking English.
Yes. And now let's move on to our final section, our conclusion and key takeaways from today's episode. Stay with us.
Wow, Julia! We've covered so many powerful techniques today for practicing English speaking alone. Let's do a quick recap for our listeners.
Yes, we started by talking about common myths, like the idea that you can't improve without a partner. That's not true. There are so many ways to practice alone.
Right. Then we discussed thinking in English, which helps you stay immersed in the language. We also talked about shadowing, where you imitate native speakers to improve pronunciation and fluency.
We also shared tips on speaking out loud, describing things, telling stories, and role-playing conversations. That's a great way to develop confidence.
Yes, and let's not forget technology, using AI tools, language apps, and even recording yourself to track progress and improve over time. Now, before we end, I want to ask you, Julia, what's your best advice for someone who's afraid to practice speaking alone?
Great question, Jason. My advice is don't be afraid to make mistakes. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And remember, no one is judging you when you practice alone.
Exactly. English fluency is a journey, and every small step counts. Whether it's 5 minutes of shadowing, recording yourself, or using an AI app, consistency is the key.
Yes, and most importantly, enjoy the process. Learning a language should be fun. Speak with confidence and believe in yourself.
That's a perfect note to end on. To all our listeners, start practicing today. Speak out loud Use the techniques we discussed, and don't give up. You've got this.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next episode.